Hey, what's up everybody? Thanks for coming back for another video. I just wanted to make a video about an issue I was having. My ultra gauge started throwing some codes, my service engine soon light came on, and I traced it back to the secondary air injection system. So I wanted to do a relatively quick video on where I found the problem and how I cleared the codes out. If you're watching this video, you've probably already determined that your codes are related to the secondary air injection system. This is the Rave manual. I highly recommend everyone download this. If I can find a link, I'll post it in the description, but it is getting harder to find. But this is the workshop manual, and this is just a brief overview of the location of this injection system. It consists of a pump, of course your fuse box, your engine control module, and the firewall. This pump supplies air to these two valves, and these valves are open via a vacuum system that is controlled by this solenoid valve. If you have a 2003 or newer Discovery, you'll have this vacuum reservoir, which will either be located here near the power steering and ACE, if that's an option in your vehicle, or if the 2004 model, like I have, it's attached to the pump. The code P1418, you may have already looked up to see that it's relay circuit malfunction. This could be an electrical issue feeding, and you're getting a fault. It could be a faulty pump, relay, or something actually feeding the air pump. As a result of the air pump not working, you may also get additional codes that relate to the air measurements that the Land Rover does to make sure that the air is actually moving into the exhaust system. Alternatively, the valves have to open, and the valves are opened through an actuated solenoid. And if you're getting an electrical fault here, you could also end up with some codes that result as a result of those faults. The P04 codes 121314. So if you're getting some of those codes, it could be that your vacuum tube that opens the valves is also blocking airflow into the exhaust system. So you could, in addition, get these other P14 codes as a result of air not moving into the exhaust system. And so further down in this manual, it really discusses these various codes and how to troubleshoot them. As I mentioned, I was getting a P1412 and a P1415, which is showing both banks getting insufficient airflow during the passive test. The Wave manual does a fantastic job of walking you through fault finding. So as I mentioned, the P14 through 12 through P1417 codes really relate to it not measuring air at the O2 sensor. So it runs a variety of tests to check to see if air is actually flowing through the exhaust. So I was getting 12 and 15. Failing this test, which is when just under normal startup operation, it uses the oxygen sensor voltage output to determine if flow is being introduced into the exhaust system. I was getting that in both banks, so therefore no air was flowing to either bank. Failing the passive tests that just were part of the normal startup. If the normal passive test fail, it will initiate active test. And I had noticed my Land Rover trying to do this. I'm not sure how many times it has to fail until it throws the code, but it will do a leak test where it will run the pump without opening valves. When it does this, it wants to check to make sure that it is not getting oxygen into the exhaust system, making sure that the valves are sealed. And then it will open the valves and then determine if it's getting a flow test and determine if oxygen is flowing into the exhaust system. So as you can see, it has a flow chart here, which if you're hunting yours down, you might want to pause this here and screenshot this. But if you're getting any of these 12, 14, 15, and 17, we are getting insufficient flow, and it was in both. So for me, I'm jumping to yes, go to step 8. The electrical issue, I was getting no electrical P codes. So vacuum supply, well, that's actually where I discovered my issue. my vacuum supply that was coming from my solenoid valve to my reservoir tank had come disconnected. But as you can see, this really walks you through how to check. And even further down, I highly recommend downloading this. It will discuss even how to independently test the air pumps for failures by bridging terminals, and test your valves using a pressure tester. So I hope this has helped out, and feel free to subscribe. I plan as more issues come up with the Land Rover making more videos. And if you have any questions, just shoot them in the comments. Okay, so we want to look at where this is located inside of the hood here, or under the hood. And right over here, this is the secondary air injection system. In this 2004, you have the vacuum tank on top. The basic way this system works is your vacuum comes in from your intake manifold into your vacuum chamber. This vacuum then comes out through this line, back through this wire cover, and here it gets split out. Here is one of the two valves that controls the airflow. The pump here blows air. That air comes out, these valves open, and it injects it down into the exhaust manifold on both sides. So mine was throwing the code, no electrical code, so it told me my pump was acting fine, but the air was not getting into the exhaust manifold. Come to find out, after just looking over these vacuum lines, tracing them back, this here had come off. I had no vacuum coming from the intake manifold to supply the system. Simple fix, reattach that. I cleared the codes, no issues since then. However, if you were having additional codes, your wiring harness for your blower is over here. Over on this side of the engine, here's our other valve, and right here is our solenoid that powers the vacuum that opens these valves. Now, if you have a 2003 version, it will have that vacuum tank, but it will be mounted down in this area. Just to get in a little closer here, over on the left-hand side of the motor, valve, purge valve, solenoid. So this solenoid, this electronic connection here, if you're getting vacuum issues and you're getting electronic faults, either replacing this solenoid or checking this, and this supplies the vacuum that opens the valves that allows the air to come in through here. Now, if you see, secondary air injection does come through metal tubing, but it does have these silicone connectors, so you can get leaks or deterioration in these as well.